All right, what's going on, y'all? Hey, I appreciate you tuning in. I want to pick back up in Genesis where I was last talking about it is not good for man to be alone. That after God had created a male and female, He had said it is not good that man should be alone. And so there's this ache within man that is very good and natural for a woman. And some of us have corrupted that in internalizing those desires and entering into a transgender fantasy. There's one particular path that I believe some men follow into that deception. And I want to look here in Genesis chapter 3 at the fall of man, the lie that was believed, the deception, the nature of that deception, and see if we can understand something of the deception that we bought into. Basically, there was just one command in this perfect paradise: do not eat of this particular tree. Man was required to be obedient to his Creator. But the serpent comes along and questions God's goodness, and basically he says to Eve, you're not going to die if you eat that fruit, because God knows when you eat of it, you'll be like Him, knowing good and evil. And basically God's holding back something from you. And when Eve followed after that and her husband followed after her, God's goodness was called into question. And I think that's largely why we've gone the way we have, is that we thought God was holding something back from us in creating us as male, as men, and that in femininity there is something greater there that would bring about peace and satisfaction that we cannot have unless we go that direction. Whether it be we're drawn to female physical features, the hip, the hair, the breast, the face, whether putting on makeup, attending to skin or clothes or jewelry, or being treated like a woman, whether that be doing stereotypical feminine things like hobbies or interests, or if assuming a female role in society or in relationships. However number of ways that this feminine identity develops, there's something that we're looking for that we don't believe we can find in our true identity as men. And so this boundary that God has put into place is there because we are to be subject to our Creator. We're to trust Him and His goodness and to embrace all that He has created as being good. But Eve decided to assert her own self-will, as we have, to set ourselves up as our own authority. And as we do that, we basically hide from our Creator, as they do after they've entered into sin. They go hide. And as they there's consequences to that. They were ousted from the garden and death was ushered into the world. And if we decide to hide from our Creator and begin to embrace those lies as the ultimate reality, it begins to harden us and it corrupt us in a way that we don't even we lose sight of the fact that it's wrong, and we come out of hiding. That's what I believe we've seen over the years, and we, unfortunately, I believe we'll see more of as people come out to celebrate and embrace and this sort of pride attached to the transgender identity. And I think that's encapsulated a good way in Proverbs 30:20. It says, "This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wickedness." This sort of spirit of Jezebel that's very much brazen, rebellious, and celebrates wickedness and doesn't even see anything wrong with it, and promotes those around her that join her in that rebellion. And I see that's what happens to men who decide to go that direction and don't look back. But really, I put these videos out to men who really have something gnawing away at them, that know this isn't right, that I understand that there's an allure to that direction, that there's some sort of counterfeit peace and pleasure that one can experience there. But I really want to be a voice that warns men out there of the dangers of going that direction, not only of consequences in this life but in the next, and that truly God is good, and that there is great pleasure and joy in manhood that we have forsaken for the lie. And as we go after the lie, I've tried to talk about in other videos how that does hinder us from enjoying the truth. And so my desire is to enter into the truth, and not so much to know the truth, but to be true. I want to be a man of God, and as I've entered more fully into that, by trusting God and walking with Him, I've begun to experience pleasures that were foreign to me. And I'm coming to see the goodness that there is in manhood, in leading and loving and providing and protecting and really serving a woman in love. And I'd not known that if God had not, in His grace, revealed that to me. So, I didn't just get smart enough and just to figure that out one day and decide I'm just going to go that way. But God visited me. It doesn't have to be something miraculous, perhaps like the way He did me in warning me through a vision of hell. His word should be sufficient. God speaks, and we should have an ear attentive to that. And I try to share God's word here on this channel in a way that's relevant to the transgender issue. And I really encourage you men out there to message me or to engage me in any way with any questions you might have, because I'm wrestling with you in this, and I hope to be a help in some way. I wish y'all well, and may the Lord bless you.